Hello and welcome to Short Story Scene. I'm your host, the storyteller, and here we have a tale called Driver Smith by Banjo Paterson. 'Twas Driver Smith of Battery A that was anxious to see a fight. He thought of the Transvaal all the day, he thought of it all the night. Well, if the battery's left behind, I'll go to the war, says he. I'll go a drive in the ambulance in the ranks of the AMC. I'm fairly sick of these here parades. If you want to change that kills. A charging of the Rankwick rifle range and the aiming of the Surrey hills. And if I go with the ambulance, I'm certain to find the show, for they have sent the medical men to wherever the troops can go. Wherever the rifle bullets flash and the Maxims raise a din, it's here you'll find the medical men a rank and the wounded in. A ranking M and the human flies and the driver smart like me will find some scope of its extra skill in the ranks of the AMC. So Driver Smith, he went to war a-cracking his driver's whip. For the ambulance to collecting base they show him his regular trip. And he said to the boys that were marching past, as he gave his whip a crack, "You walk yourselves to the fight," says he. "Lord spare me, I'll drive you back." Now the fight went on in the Transvaal hills for the half of the day or more. And the Driver Smith, he worked his trip all aboard for the seat of war. He took his load from the stretcher men and hurried 'em homeward fast, till he heard the sound that he knew full well, a battery rolling past. He heard a clink in the leading chains and the roll of the guns behind. He heard the crack of the driver's whip, and he says, strike me blind. I'll miss me a trip with his ambulance, although I do not care to shriek. But I'll take the car off the line today and follow the guns at work. Then up the battery colonel came, a-cursing in the face. Sit down and shift your driver there, and gallop into place. So off the battery rolled and swung, a-going a merry dance. And holding his own with the leading gun goes Smith with his ambulance. They opened fire on the mountainside, a-peppering by a large. When over the hill, above the flank, the Boers came down at the charge. They rushed the guns with daring rush, a volley left and right, and Driver Smith and his ambulance moved up to the edge to fight. The gunners struck their guns like men and fought as the wildcats fight. For the battery men don't leave his gun with ever a hope in sight. But the bullets sang and the moisers cracked and the battery men gave way, till Driver Smith with his ambulance drove into the thick of the fray. He saw the head of the Transvaal troop of a thundering to and fro. A hard old face with a monkey beard, a face he seemed to know. "Know who's the leader?" said Driver Smith. "I've seen him before today. Why, bless my heart, it's Kruger's self," and he jumped from him straight away. He collared old Kruger round the waist and hustled him into the van. It wasn't according to the stretcher drill or raising a wounded man, but he forced him in and said, "All aboard, we're off to a little ride. And you'll have the car to yourself," says he. "I reckon we're full inside." He wheeled its team on the mountainside and set 'em in a merry pace. A-galloping over the rocks and stone, a lot of Boers gave chase. A brewer, Driver Smith, and his fairish start, and he said to the Boers, "Good day," and have Buckley's chance for to catch a man that was trained in Battery A. He drove his team into the hospital bed and said to the PMO, "Beg pardon, sir, but I missed the trip, mistaking the way to go." And Kruger came in the ambulance and asked could we spare a bed. So I fetched him here and we'll take him home and show for a bob a head. So the word went around the English troops to say they need to fight no more, for Driver Smith with his ambulance had ended the blooming war. In London now in the music halls he's staring it every night and drawing £100 a week to tell how he won the fight. And that concludes our tale, Driver Smith by Banjo Paterson. If you'd like this content and like to support it, please head on over to Patreon. That is www.patreon.com/shortstoryscene.